One of the movies we do know is coming out pretty imminently is the new Terminator Dark Fate. Now, this has been on a little bit of a roller coaster ride as far as public perception has gone. Because they announced Dark Fate, a lot of people, James Cameron's back, Deadpool director. Oh. And then the footage gets shown at CinemaCon, and everybody raves about all the footage they showed at CinemaCon. Then the infamous, terrible music choice of I'm Going Hunting trailer came out, and when a lot of people going, ah. And then the trailer after that came, it's like, oh. So it's gone a little bit up and down like that, right? Well, the first round of people to see it have now come out, and actually the response for Terminator Dark Fate is really solid.
Yeah.
The overall general feeling that's being communicated about the movie is everybody basically across the board is saying, this is easily the best Terminator movie since Terminator 2. That's not necessarily saying a lot. We haven't had, as what would you call it, the Citizen Kane of the Terminator franchise?
No, there's been no Fast Five of the Terminator. Aside from Terminator and Terminator 2.
Right. Yeah, aside from Terminator 2. But since Terminator 2, it's not like we've gotten anything epic per se. But they all are saying, basically across the board, this is really good. It's really solid. It's a return to form for the franchise. And it is at least the best since Terminator 2. Anyway, some of the comments coming here. Matt Singer says the following: Terminator's thought of as an Arnold franchise. Dark Fate makes it clear he wasn't the ingredient that made it work. It's Linda Hamilton. She's incredible in this. And the movie's very solid. I recently defended all the Terminator sequels, so make of that what you will. Then we got Jermaine Lucier from IO9 who writes, Terminator Dark Fate is basically Terminator The Force Awakens, a satisfying, exciting reboot that's essentially the best of Part 1 or of T1 and T2 in a blender. Davis, Reyes, Hamilton are excellent. The action wows. And while it's familiar, it's easily the best Terminator yet, probably since Terminator 2. Terminator is back. Cinematical's Eric Eisenberg says, excited to report that Terminator Dark Fate is the best sequel in the franchise since Terminator 2. It's a return to basics movie, reminiscent of Star Wars The Force Awakens. We're hearing a couple of people saying that. The Force Awakens in that way, but the new heroes are fantastic. It's great to see Legends kicking ass, and the action is great. And this is basically the refrain we're getting repeated from everybody. It's really good. No one's saying it's as good as Terminator 2. No one's going that crazy. But everybody's saying it's quite good. It's very enjoyable. It's the best one they've had in the franchise since Terminator 2. And basically, very hopeful stuff. Now, Rob, when I saw the trailers for this, other than the I'm Going Hunting debacle,
right?
I've always thought, this looks like it could be interesting. It feels like they're going back to basics. To some people, that might be a negative thing because it's just the same Terminator story. Some other people may say it's getting back to basics, whatever you want to call it. But, if this is the first time I'm catching that same enthusiasm that we heard coming out of CinemaCon that people had, and that was all the way back in April.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear this initial response. And now I haven't seen it yet myself, so I'll withhold judgment. But this is at least good to hear in this level. Do you have any surprises hearing this stuff?
Well, look, I keep going back to Tim Miller, and I was lucky enough. I don't know if you were at the screening at John Schnepp and I went to a screening at IMAX headquarters to see the first Deadpool. And we talked to Tim Miller afterwards for quite some time. And it was very clear after seeing his Injustice video game stuff that he did for Justice League and then watching Deadpool that he's a really smart guy. And he really knows his stuff. And watching his childlike enthusiasm at CinemaCon when he came out using expletives and he was jumping off the stage. He was so excited about this movie. And I'm like, this movie's probably going to be pretty damn good. You got James Cameron coming back. And then all of the less enthusiastic reception for the trailers, even my less enthusiastic reception, because what they showed at CinemaCon was better. I've kind of not been feeling this movie, and I think a lot of people have. They're like, why are we seeing more of the same? But to hear that it's good, I'm like, okay. My initial impression of Tim Miller and the fact that you should never get a bet against James Cameron has now been bared out. And I love to hear that we're getting a decent Terminator movie, because don't we all love Terminator, John? Doesn't everyone love the idea of Terminator? We grew up with Terminator. Don't we all want good Terminator? So when we get good Terminator, it's good all the way around.
I think everybody loved Terminator, but I think like a bad marriage, a lot of people have fallen out of love with Terminator
Right.
as the decades have gone on. And look, I don't know if this movie's going to be great, but it's at least good to hear that there are some people seeing it and they're actually saying it's a bit of a winner. Chris, how does this adjust your expectations going into like a Terminator, and where are your expectations for it right now?
I mean, it does move the needle slightly, because I've said on the show before that I haven't been excited about this movie. I didn't know why we were getting it. I didn't know who asked for it, because I have been hurt before by this franchise.
Many times.
So many times, and I won't let it happen again. I'm going to guard my heart. But this makes me feel a lot better and more confident with the film, that so many people are enjoying it. And I like the idea of back to basics, because T1, T2, those are the staples, right? So if it is more reminiscent of those early films, I'm definitely going to give it a shot.
So the question here is, guys, what do you make of this? Now, again, these are just first early reactions and all that kind of stuff, but at least it's positive stuff we're hearing. Has this, as Chris put it, moved the needle for you at all? I want to know what you guys think. Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.